machinja tinofamba nomweya mutsvene mweya wakanaka. Kumachinja tinofamba nomweya mutsvene mweya wakanaka. Kualliance tinofamba nomweya mutsvene mweya wakanaka. Kualliance tinofamba nomweya mutsvene mweya wakanaka. Kuzwa imambo tinofamba nomweya mutsvene mweya wakanaka. MDC tinofamba nomweya mutsvene mweya wakanaka.
Maybe you can try to help. Right, I'll be coming for you.
Greetings. Welcome to you all Change Radio listeners, whether you're joining us from ZimEye or from Facebook, Change Radio, or from our Change Radio YouTube page. We would like to wish you all a warm welcome to today's program, where we are celebrating the 60th birthday of our VP, Welshman. If I just take a few moments to greet our viewers who have just tuned in. Lovejoy Makalakata says CCC. This was a chaizo CCC. Tafadzwa Maradze. Put a like. DJ V, if you're good and ready, over to you.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to our listeners. My name is Decent Pajila. We are here today to wish the Vice President of the movement, Professor Welshman Mube, a happy 60th birthday. Happy birthday, Prof.
Thank you, Nyawanga.
I'm here with my friend, where we are going to spend the next few minutes having this conversation. Welcome to the.
Thank you, Leader Bajila. Welcome to the radio, Professor, our President, Professor Ngube. On behalf of Change Radio, I want to say a happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you.
Yeah, welcome, Prof. Probably, maybe I'll just start by asking. I know our viewers and our listeners, they are actually live and they would want to know who is Welshman Mube. Taking out all the glasses, who is Welshman Mube?
Wow, I don't think we have time for an answer to that question. Look, for our purposes today, let's say that I am, first of all, a lawyer at heart, who, from his experiences as a young person in Rhodesia and in Zimbabwe, was always driven by quest for justice. Went to law school because having grown up witnessing injustices, discrimination in Rhodesia, I thought that within the legal profession, I could do a lot to enhance human rights observance, defending citizens from abuse, and so forth and so on. That, of course, took me to civil society. I was there when virtually all the organizations you know today were founded. They were talking of ZimEye, Zimbabwe Lawyer as for human rights, the Constitutional Assembly, etc. I was in the thick of it. And of course, you all know that those organizations eventually gave birth to the MDC, and working together with the Morgan Trangirai, Fletcher Julini, Isaac Matongo, eventually got to found the MDC, having realized that protest politics in society wasn't taking us anywhere. We went to the Working People's Convention, as you know, and it was there that when we looked at the resolutions that we made, we looked at what had to be done. We came to the conclusion that we needed a political vehicle representing the working people of the country to implement the agenda for change, which at that time had some key 5 priorities that we needed to ensure were implemented. So I have been for the greater part of my adult life in the track.
Thank you very much, Vice President, for walking us through your life here. But I know we've got some of our viewers, like Dr. Masi, who actually wanted to know how do you actually manage to balance your time since you are Mr. Ngube. At the same time, you are a professor, you are, meaning that you are in academia, and also you're an advocate. You are actually in your chambers here. You are a vice president of a political party, and also probably a politician and a business person. How do you actually balance off your life?
Well, all of those things, uh, I grew into them. I grew in them. When I was a bit young, before 50, I think one had the energy to do all of these things without flinching. And of course, age, you begin to see the pain of it all. But all of these things are complementary at the end of the day. As a human being, your self actualization, you need to have your personal family life, time with your wife, time with your children, watch them grow, watch them become adults. Very fulfilling. That's really our purpose in life. The rest of the things we do are to in fact, achieve those things with our family. We do our politics so that we can create a better country, a better Zimbabwe for our children, for our families, and so forth and so on. So one feeds into the other. Then, of course, professionally, you get your intellectual stimulation, you get your intellectual achievement uh, through the professional things we do. We do it as lawyers, we do it as academics. So all of these things at the end of the day are interrelated. I continue. You have to be a family person in order to be a good lawyer. You have to be a good lawyer in order to be a family person. You have to be concerned about the greater good of your society, your country. That takes you to politics to strive to change the lives of our people so that everybody will self-actualize.
Okay, today you turning 60. That's a milestone. One would want to ask, are there any good memories, any bad memories when it comes to your political journey that you have actually lived?
It's a mixed bag, of course. You have the good memories, you have the bad memories, they are all there together. You have great moments of hope, great moments of achievement. You'll also have moments of regret. I think that one of what I can call the great moments of achievement, moments where we thought really we have done well. was the day of the constitutional referendum when the people of Zimbabwe voted for a new constitution, which on paper is a damn good constitution. We had done a great deal of work get to that point. For me, when the results of the referendum were announced and the millions of Zimbabweans had voted for a constitution that we had fought for very long. Speaking personally, from the day I went into academia, from the day I went into law school, my first class as a constitutional law lecturer, it was one of the things that I held during that I treasured. So that was for me that was a great achievement. It was said that we have witnessed all of these things which have been happening since then to claw back on that constitution, which was an achievement by and for the people of Zimbabwe. And of course, there are disappointments as well. One of my great disappointments in life is that I really never thought that Aldab could sit down and sign an agreement and commit themselves to an agreement without the slightest intention of implementing and fulfilling it. So when we signed and adopted the global political agreement with the leaders of the three main parties at that time, signing that agreement, watching then President Mugabe, I never thought that there could be such cynicism that were putting their signatures on a document without intending at all to respect it. So for me, that is one of my big disappointments. It's a lesson that I still struggling to comprehend, that people in leadership positions and casted, voted in at different times by citizens will actually be that cynical about committing themselves, implementing agreements which were intended to ensure that we take a different trajectory for this country.
What's your opinion on elections? Since 2000, we've been going to elections as MDC, as MDCT, as MDC Alliance. What is your opinion on elections? Is it necessary for us to keep on having elections, or is it not necessary for the people to have elections?
Elections are always necessary. Elections are the democratic and peaceful ways of achieving change. Ultimately, elections are the highest expression of the sovereignty of the people. To say we are assembled here today, I'm getting into a polling session, I'm going to vote for the leaders who will lead me, who will lead me. So they are an important, in fact, the most important ingredient of democracy. So we can never walk away from elections. When you walk away from elections, then you are basically going to war. You are going to violence. You are going to what you may call revolutionary violence if elections does not work. Which is why, as the MPC, we have put so much faith. We have banked so much in elections and in electoral democratic change because that is the democratic way of doing politics, of achieving change. There will be a day if you continue to have the authoritarian consolidation that is happening in the country, the closure of democratic space, the repeated refusal to allow the people to exercise their sovereign right to determine who their leaders are. When the young people eventually get to a point where they say this doesn't work, it is now necessary to engage in revolutionary violence in the same way the nationalists, when Smith had closed all doors for democratic change, decided that you have to secure democracy, majority rule through the gun. Our young people will one day get to that point, which is why it is important for ZANU-PF, it is important for the military in this country to realize that the natural condition of humanity is freedom. The natural condition of any people is liberty. When you enforce dictatorship, when you enforce authoritarian rule for a very long time, people will reach a breaking point and repudiate those democratic tenets. The MDC was formed on the basis of achieving democratic change, not undemocratic change. That is why we continue to express our faith. Stolen election after stolen election, because that is the democratic way. And we continue to warn those who stand in the way of democracy that the young people of this country will get to a point if you continue to close them out of politics, if you continue to close them out of democratic leadership, bribing people, not democratic leadership. So we as the MDC Alliance of today continue to believe in elections, continue to fight for a democratic change through elections rather than revolutionary change through violence. Because once you go to revolutionary change, it means there has to be a violent rupture with the status quo. And we do not want that, because lives are lost, property is destroyed. We defeated the colonial regime and told ourselves that from now on, we are going to have governments which are constituted on the will of the people through elections. But unfortunately, we haven't seen that. And for us in the MTC, we continue to be peaceful. We continue to appeal for democratic change. We continue to resort to democratic processes of achieving change. But it will not be always so. There will be younger people, not us turning 60 gray head, who still believe in this thing.
Maybe just a follow up again. We were talking about young people. I've just seen like on the social media, I've read on the newspapers. Recently, you were actually moving around, conscientizing the young people on voter registration. I don't know, maybe you've got a message that you have, since we've got viewers right now who are actually listening and maybe seeing our page live, to actually say that what is your message on voter registration, and also young people who have actually given up, to say that we are tired of maybe going to register and maybe going to vote. What's your message to them today?
One of my favorite quotations is the quotation from the late Joshua Nyong'o Ngabo, when a country was in sort of difficult situation such as this one. He basically said that this country is not going to die. Young people are going to save it. And I believe in that. I believe in the young people of this country will save this country. Their first option, their democratic option, is in their numbers, in their millions. By the time we vote in 2023, they will be constituting upwards of 50% of the electorate. And the peaceful way, the less expensive way, the least painful way to secure their future through election. And all it takes is a few minutes of their time. Go and register to vote and turn up in your millions on election day. If you turn out in your millions, you overwhelmed. You cannot stop the millions of young people from securing change to change. We saw it in 2018, even though the election was stolen. We saw how energized the young people became when President Nelson Chamisa became the candidate. We saw them at our rallies. We saw them working hard every day. we need to double those numbers beyond the 2.6 million. We get it to 6 million. They will not still vote if 6 million of you turn out to vote. That is my message to the young people. The alternative is to watch your country die. The alternative is to turn into drugs. The alternative is to literally become what in the valley we call you are defeated, you become nobody, you become drug addict. That's not the future that young people deserve. And the young people should take this into their hands and go out in their millions. They should regain their country from the corrupt people, the oligarchs who have taken over this country and are leaving the country to nowhere.
Prof, this one, I'll ask you in a video way. You know, uma sihamba lapha emasikadeni, lapha esihlala khona, abantu bayabuza ukuthi kathi yona i-MDC Alliance vele kuzabuza ngoba phela kathesi nxa sikhangele izolo i-PF ithe khona ama-by-elections izafuna ukuvula. I-MDC Alliance yathi sithi i-MDC Alliance. UDouglas Monzora uthi nami nxa sengihamba ama-elections ngisasebenzisa ukuthi i-MDC Alliance. Then abanye bebuye futhi bebe lezinye ingqondo lapha nxa sihlangana lapho. Bethi kathi yona i-MDC Alliance igcwele amagqwetha abakwanisa ukubhala lokhuzeni lo abakwanisa ukuyenza konke. I-problem kuyini ukuthi khona bakwanisa ukuthi bemisa ukuthi uDouglas Monzora sethatha izinto zonke bethi hayi thina njenge-MDC Alliance asisoze sikuvumeze ukuthi uthathe lokhu lalokhu ngoba ngokwethu angikwazi ukuthi ngithini lakho. Abantu bayakhuluma nje lami ngithi ngibuze ngoba namhlanje thina sithi
oqala ngomdlisha kumele sibe kwazi ukuthi akunani ukuthi uyangibiza ngokuthi ngingumathonsi, ngincube, uthi ngingu-Welshman, uthi ngingu-Prof, by whatever name ombiza ngayo yimi. Abakwethu bayazi ukuthi yimi. UMonzora angafika athi yena uyisizalwane sakwaMathonsi, bayakwazi abantu ukuthi kahle sizalwane sakwaMathonsi. So singazihluphi ngokwamabizo khonokho, singazihluphi ngelanga lokuvota. Abantu babe bekwazi ukuthi kumbe sithe siyi-MDC, kumbeni sithe siyi-PFC, kumbeni sisathini, sithi yiyo i-organization, iphathi ekhokhelwa nguNelson Chamisa, yiyo esiyifunayo. Bazavota abantu kuphela besivotela ngoba yithi esimelele izifiso zabantu. Abantu bayakwazi ukuthi iziphozo zani, abantu bayakwazi ukuthi who is aiding and abetting zani, abantu bayakwazi ukuthi umzorewa walamhlanje ngubani, abathandabuzi ngakhonokho. So akusihluphi, kodwa sinanzelele into esibili khona ukuthi ungaze ube the best lawyers amagqwetha akhaliphileyo lapha esikhona indaba leyo kuzama ukuthatha ibizo le-MDC Alliance, ukuthatha ama-MP e-MDC Alliance, ukuthatha okhansela, ukuthatha amahhovisi ethu, ukuthatha imali yethu bakhona ngamavoti e-MDC Alliance. Yonke lokho yimizamo ye-military, ibutho leZimbabwe. Ibutho leZimbabwe mina ngesikhiwa, it has captured a ruling party. It has captured a ruling party. The military today has a ruling party in its pocket. It has captured ama-courts eZimbabwe. It has captured i-parliament eZimbabwe. They have been trying ukuthi njalo bakhethe i-opposition umonzora lo iproject yabo yokuthi ba-capture i-opposition. Kodwa i-MDC Alliance kayikhetheki. Lamhlanje bayamangala ukuthi silokhu simile sithe nko, silokhu siqinile sinjalo, bathatha imali yethu, bathatha i-head office yethu, bathatha ama-MP yethu, bathatha amakhansela ethu, kodwa silokhu sikhona ngenxa yokuthi siphume ebantwini. Singabantu beZimbabwe. Nxa ufuna ukubhidliza i-MDC, ufuna ukudiliza i-MDC, kumele uqale ubhidlize abantu beZimbabwe. Put differently, nxa ufuna ukuthi i-MDC ibe irrelevant, lungisa inhlalakahle kaZulu, fix the lives of the welfare, the people of Zimbabwe. Only then can you destroy the MDC, because we become irrelevant. Abantu beZimbabwe babe sebesikuthi, babe sebehlezi abantwana bethu besidla bekhona. Nxa uhamba lapha emalokishini, uhambe emakhaya, ukhangwe luhleko lwabantu bekholisa bephile kuhle. Hatshi lokho okubona namhlanje, inyembezi, ukukhala ukubona ebantwini kokuhlupheka. Yikho ungasoze uyibhidlize i-MDC, ngoba i-MDC isizalwane seZimbabwe. Okwamalizo singazihluphi ngapha, sizabe sikhona ephethweni, mbeni i-by-election, mbeni ukhetho, akusoze ipikitsha kaThamisa yakhona, ibizo le-MDC Alliance nxa siyabe sivunyelwe ukuthi liyabe likhona. Nxa sidicide ukuthi hayi sinqume kasitshintshe, siyabe sintshintshile, abantu bazabe bekhile, singazihluphi ngakho. Okumele sizihluphe ngakho ukuthi kumele ku-create ama-conditions ukuthi abantu beZimbabwe bavote ngokuthula, bavote ivoti yabo ibalwe kakuhle. Let every vote count at the end of the day. EMDC winner by whatever means implement.
Okay, thank you very much, Pro. I think for me, I'm done with my questions. Maybe the last one is I give to my co-host. Today you've turned 60, and when an elder turns 60, I can't wait to tell you.
Long way to go.
usually we hear of people killing a cow, celebrating. Are there any celebrations?
Azaba khona ama-celebration okwakhathesana singasivunyelwa ukuthi sibe baningi. Nxa kucelebrethwa i-50 years, i-60 years, i-70 years, kuyanxuswana. Sisezanxuswana, anti-COVID le ama-restrictions lawa zaphela. Sike sidle inyama, kujayive, kuyenziwe konke, kunathwa abanathayo, kukhonjwe. Ngiza kunxusa, uzaba khona kakhulu, sakakhula nxa ufuna ukukakhula.
Thank you very much, Pro. Over to my co-host.
Yes, thank you so much, Stamina. I think you have made my job quite easy. Much of it that I also met the problem and that we are almost getting to the end of the interaction with the Vice President. Prof, 2009 to 2013, you had a minister in Mugabe. How was it working with Mugabe, a man whom you so much spoken about the destruction of the country, but that existed resulted in you having to work with you as a minister of government. Maybe you could take us through how was it working with Mugabe and what could have been done differently with insight now.
Wow, difficult question. Our experience in the progressive government with a roller coaster of a mixed bag. I suppose that all authoritarian rulers are complex characters by definition. They do not easily lend themselves into categorization. So I will say for that reason, you had Mugabe, the charmer, the Mugabe who seemed to have a great deal of respect for those ministers in government that he thought were endowed with some intellect for him to be able to have serious conversations about the history of this country, about the economy of this country. So he would appear to sort of bend backward, to listen to accommodate, to take counsel from those who were in cabinet whom he respected. Let me just give you an example. He had a great deal of respect for the Minister of Finance then, David. He had a great deal of respect for the Minister of Energy then, Elton Mangor, and a couple of others. And you could clearly at this day for a great number, ironically, of vanity ministers that he seemed to have very little respect for and little time. And most of the time, he considered himself intellectually superior to most of the people sitting in that cabinet. So he tended to be condescending, tended to sort of hold himself out, not just the first among equals, but the first and one and only, the Alpha and the Omega. So that was sometimes we sit with him and have a conversation there, and have difficulty in saying this is the same man who was the architect of Rahun. And if I hadn't lived Rahundi as a person, if I hadn't been a temporary teacher at Fatima in Lupane and watched at first hand Rahundi in operation, if I hadn't watched Mugabe then basically give commands encouraging what Rahundi was doing and sitting in cabinet with this can't be the same person. It was the same person. And I'm saying this in order to say you had this complex character, a character who had an innate and instinctive authoritarian streak in him, which, when not under challenge, was disguised as sort of an intellectual guru of some kind. So that was Mugabe. You see the flashes of anger. You see the flashes of anger when one occasion we were debating Kukurahundi in cabinet, and you could see the flashes of anger, and you could see the person who would order the coup. In one moment, you see another charming person being very charming to John Gomo, and that was the man. Complex, very complex character. But at the heart of it, we must never forget that this was an authoritarian leader, a leader who did not hesitate to take life if he believed it was in the interest of him maintaining power to take life. Very little respect for human life at the end of the day. So that is the legacy that we have. The legacy of Kukunahundi, the legacy of the ruined economy. You could tell that he considerable difficulty in believing that a country can get a bankrupt. No, a country does get bankrupt. And when we're being asked to keep giving money to GNP, when we're asked to ignore some of the effects which was taking place, and you could see that mentally in his mind, you could not believe that a country could be better. But that was the man.
Okay, quite complex with all these thoughts of his, but also still not believing that it was possible to bankrupt the country. Perhaps my second last question is going to be the fact that it's myself and Cabinet doing this interview. We are in the international relations department of the party, and also as a vice president, we supervise the portfolio of the international relations. Want to get your view on the international relations that Zimbabwe is currently under, how Mugabe and the predecessors they put us into this corner, and how you think Zimbabwe could find itself out of this isolation, rejoin the international community, and be able to live like every other country lives and enjoys neighborhood with it.
The subject of international isolation, subject of sanctions, is such that one thing which has provided ZANU-PF what I may call the cover for some of its authoritarian tendencies and actions. It is the excuse for every failure. Every failure of ZANU-PF is explained away through the issue of sanctions. But at the end of the day, we must remember that the exclusive and sole responsibility for the international isolation of the country rests on the shoulders of ZANU-PF. The international isolation is as a result of a systematic, sustained, long-term refusal to be bound by the minimum international standards of good governance. The international treaties to which ZANU-PF is the party, the treaties against torture, the treaties on the observance of human rights, the treaties on elections and democracy. And all that is necessary for the international isolation to be brought to an end is simply to remember what was the liberation struggle about. The liberation struggle was about securing the liberties and the freedoms of the people of Zimbabwe. The liberation struggle was about ensuring that government are constituted by the free will of the people. The liberation struggle was about ensuring that good governance, that there will be prosperity to the people of Zimbabwe, secured once again through good governance. And the removal of sanctions is probably the easiest thing to achieve. Just go back to observing the ideas of the liberation struggle. Let our people be free. Allow the people of Zimbabwe free elections. Let the will of the people at election time prevail. Stop the arrests, stop the detentions, allow the judiciary to operate independently, respect the rule of law, stop the endless arrest of young people, young women. They are the future of Zimbabwe. When you arrest Tai, when you arrest Joanne, when you arrest Cecilia, when you repeatedly arrest them again and again for non-offenses such as all the press conferences, these are the things which attract the international isolation of Zimbabwe. They are wholly unnecessary. They are against the principles and the values of the liberation struggle. And these are the things which result in our international isolation. Zimbabwe will be a prosperous country today if and only if we respected the ideals and the liberation struggle. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And then we go to the last one. As I said, that this is the second last. As we go to the last one, Prof, obviously about what next. Prof Uh, you have 1060, you have the strategy 20s, you have elected during the earlier parts of my interview when you're speaking to my colleague. What next from here? Your passion about young people, you have put it already in parts of the interview. The question is, how does Prof continue this? Is this the end of it? Prof is 60, Prof is where he is. What happens?
In 1999, when we constituted the MP, in 1999, when we were energized by the revolution and the euphoria of the Working People's Convention, it would ask me whether at 60 I will still have in my shoulder only will in the political arena. I would probably have asked you what are you supporting is going to happen. I'm here for the short term. And in typical in this work prior, I'm a city ukuthi yanga yanga. Here, let's say that's what we got in 1999, in 2000. But here we are. Here we are. And at 60 decades later, ZANU PF is still there. In fact, we are worse off now than we were in 2000. At that time, we had a dictatorship of a civilian political party, which had in its service a military. Today, we have authoritarian rule of the military, which has what appears a civilian political party in its service. I say this in order to say the struggle as this stands today is much more complex than it was when we formed the MPP. Much more complex than it was when I was 8 years old, 39 years old at the beginning of this. Now we are on our way. It is your responsibility as young people to take over. We think that we have done well in sort of superintending over the growth of some of you. We have watched you grow. We have watched you take over some of the positions that we occupied at the beginning. When our Secretary General, elected Secretary General in 1999, 2000 of the DC, Nelson Chamisa was elected chairperson of the Youth Week, and today is the president of the party. You just come out of high school. Today you are who you are. Tabile here sits in the national executive of the women, you sit in the national executive of the youth. You have courageous young people that I have mentioned that the state is targeting in order to encourage young people. So I am at 60 and I look at what we've done. I look at the leaders who have we have grown over the years. I can say without equivocating that I am happy to save my last few years so that more and more younger people will occupy the position that some of the older us they had are occupying today. So I am saying that it is your responsibility as young people to take over the structure. We have run the course, we have done our part, we've groomed some of you, and the older part of the party, myself, David Coltart, and others, we are reasonably happy that we walk into the sunset, the party is in the air.
Okay, thank you so much, VP. Thank you so much, Prof. Once again, happy birthday. Our team at Change Radio managed to quickly do something under the circumstances that are there, and got you a small cake as a birthday present that here with you, and we also have a small key holder that is there. Leather, original, because you are original. Because you are original.
Thank you very much. Nice chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can open it.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you very much.
So here.
Really, for an old person, you know, at our age, quite a lot. You can move from the lounge, and when you get there, why am I coming in? You walk backwards, you take and you think you remember. So with the key holder, I can't forget where it is.
Because if you have you move around.
Yes, and where my feet is so visible. Thank you very much. Very kind of you guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
So we just want to thank all our viewers at Change Radio, all our listeners. We were talking to our Vice President, Professor Welshman at 60 years. So we have just been talking to him. We are going to be doing the cake with him shortly. So thank you very much. Thank you so much to viewers. And for now, we will enjoy the cake. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Well, if you will allow me to read a few birthday messages from our viewers and listeners on Facebook. There is Wisdom Willow who says VP Wevanu. Biula Tazarur says happy birthday, Prof. Nure. Busy Love says our honorable VP, I wish you more good and healthy life. Henry Musikavanu says the message is directed to the Machinja. We are learning the main languages. Kuluma, the language you want, Professor. I think maybe there was some altercation about language here. So he's saying, go ahead and speak any language you wish. We are all interjoined. We understand each other. Henry Musigavanu says Vice President wedu tinokufarirai. Summers Mutasa says happy birthday VP. Jabu Mangami says happy birthday Mongameli. David Zimango says great leader. David Simango also says Sapuka. I'm so sorry, my Ndebele is not so good. Sapuka Sikumbuzo. Oh no, he was talking to another reader on the group. Mavis Ngirazi says happy birthday VP Ngube. David Ndinashe Makumbe, congratulations VP Ngube. The struggle continues. Lindsay Harmon says happy birthday VP Ngube. Ubelelanga Elifle. Kumbirai Chikosha says Prof Wabantu. John Makwana says happy birthday our VP. So you can see VP, you're dearly loved by our viewers and listeners, and they all really want to wish you a very happy birthday.
Thank you very
you,
much.
Thank you, leaders, and thank you, VP, for giving us your time. And we pray that the Almighty continues to bless you so abundantly.
Thank you.
All right. So we shall just conclude with a song whilst you're enjoying your cake.
Yeah, please play a song for us yourself.
Vachamisa tinofamba nomweya mutsvene mweya wakanaka. Nachamisa tinofamba nomweya mutsvene mweya wakanaka. Kudzwai mambo, kudzwai mambo. mambo Uzai mambo Tinofamba nomwe amchele Tinofamba nomwe amchele Kuyokanaka Tinofamba nomwe amchele Machinja tinofamba nomwe amchele Kuyokanaka Tinofamba nomwe amchele Kuala enzi tinofamba nomwe amchele Kuyokanaka Tinofamba nomwe amchele Zimbabwe tinofamba nomwe amchene mweyakanaka tinofamba nomwe amchene Zimbabwe tinofamba nomwe amchene mweyakanaka tinofamba nomwe amchene Bakuina tinofamba